Guys, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you are doing fabulous as always. Today's video, we're talking all about productivity, how I stay motivated, because I've gotten a lot of comments lately of showing what my meetings are like, what my days are like as a UX designer, and people ask, how do you stay organized? How do you stay motivated? How do you stay productive when you have so many meetings, and how does the work get done? And that's the question. How does the work get done? Because the work has to get done. You meet about the work, you talk about the work. Who does the work? I do the work. I'm gonna show you how I stay productive. I'm not always productive, let's be honest. You're not always gonna be productive. That's just not reality, but I do wanna show you guys tips and tricks and tools that I use to help me stay focused as much as possible, just so I can accomplish everything that I need to for the day. Before we get started, I just wanna call some of you guys out. I see that like 70% of people, of you guys that are watching these videos, are not subscribed. Guys, if you're here, if you've watched enough videos of mine, come on in, join the family. With that, let's get into the video. Okay, there are a couple of things that I consider my tools for success. And one of them is my to-do list. And the other is, I'm just holding up my laptop, but my other is my time blocking daily planner. I do use Notion, and I use Notion more for my longer term work projects. But in terms of like day-to-day productivity, which is what I want to focus on, these two are my bread and butter. So I will show you how I use them. Let's get into that. This is just a to-do list that I bought off of Amazon, and I will show you guys how I fill it out. And I don't fill it out the way that it's intended. This is probably like a daily to-do list, but I'm gonna save paper, guys. This is plenty for a week. And then I usually like split this in half. Top half being work, bottom half being not work items, and I just go in and start filling in what I know I want to accomplish this week. Yeah, that probably doesn't seem like a lot for things on my to-do list for the week, but this is in and around meetings, as well as some of these things are like one thing, like cleaning up my journey map. But the other thing, some of the other things are start my integration design. I'm gonna be doing that design probably for the next like 2 to 3 weeks, but at least I know this week I need to start it. I need to lay out the frames, lay out how many pages I think it's gonna be, at least get that started. And then next week I can give myself more specific actionable to-do list items. So that is how I do that. And it's the same for things like outside of work too. Okay. Like I said, it's really simple stuff, like go to the post office, go to UPS, rehang these pictures, like stuff that is so simple, but something it just feels good about writing it down and then checking it off. Like there's no better feeling. And now that I've written this down, it's in my mind to come back to. There's so many things where like I don't make a list and I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll remember. 2 hours later, it's completely left my mind. So this kind of forces me to write it down, then I remember it, and then I have something to go back to. And there's no shittier feeling than looking at your to-do list and being like, wow, I accomplished nothing. So I don't want to do that. This is one of the ways that I like to organize. I do this to-do list at the start of the week to prep for the week to come. And then on a day-to-day is when I do my time blocking planner. So let me show you guys. I'm gonna show you guys my time blocking planner. And I've got a couple of different ones that I use. I need to have a better system of like what reason I use different things. But I wanna show you guys, since I showed you the to-do list, like the weekly overview, I wanna show you how I sometimes break it down by the day. So let me pop over here and show you guys what I mean. Okay, friends. So this is my Wednesday, yesterday. So I'm just gonna show you how I block it out, and some things stay the same. So I know what I'm typically doing every day. So my mornings are pretty much the same, where I wake up around 7, sometimes it's later, try to work out from 7:30 to roughly 8:30, kind of depends, and then shower, take out Po, and then Wednesday, first thing I had was a meeting at 9. So how this works, it's everything where there's text is something that I've committed to, something I know that's happening. So there is a gap between 9:30 until 11 where I don't have anything necessarily scheduled. That's like an hour and a half window. So I try to think about what can I accomplish in an hour and a half. And I know one of my priorities is to map out all the frames. So I probably can't accomplish that in an hour and a half, but I know, thinking back to my lovely to-do list here, that I needed to check in with the developers. So I can give myself time there to do that. I'll give myself like a 30-minute break, and then from here I will say check in with devs. It'll only take a half hour, but I just want to give myself that time. And then the next free block I have is from noon to 1, but I'm gonna use that time for lunch. And then the next block I have is from 1:30 to 3:30, but I know that I usually like to take PO out at this time, so I will do it, let's do it at like 3:30. PO out for walk. And then that gives me 1:30 to 3 to, let's just call it Figma. We'll just Figma for the next hour and a half. Figma. Okay, and then take PO out for a walk. Tea Party here is one of the podcasts that I subscribe to on Patreon. They have like a monthly tea party with whatever top tier patron you are. And I love these girls. The podcast is called Two Black Girls, One Rose. If you're interested, they're the best. And that's what that is. So I really like to go to those monthly tea parties. They're called tea parties because, you know, drama, shade, tea. So I plan that into my day. And then this day I was having happy hour with a friend, so I knew I needed 30 minutes to get ready, and then the rest, H8, is just happy hour. I didn't have to probably run it all the way till 7:30, but I just knew I wasn't gonna come back and do anything else. So that's this side of the calendar. And then the other side, so my top priority for the day is map out all the frames. And I gave myself an hour and a half to do so. And, you know, if I get some extra time, like in these little blocks, to do more of that, then I will. And then something that's on my to-do list for today, it's not necessarily a top priority, but it's on the list of things to do, is to call the vet for Poe's appointment. Need to make a new appointment for him. That I can do in any one of these blocks, not a problem. Notes are things that I heard prior to this day. Like, these are notes that I took earlier this week that I think I can actually action upon it today, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that is I'm looking for specifically a font type that is not our typical font type that I'm using with this third party. And I believe in one of the Slack threads, they discussed what that is. So that's what that means. And then there was an article that I was reading about design systems versus a UI kit that I just want to finish up. I try to read like 1 or 2 articles a week. I need to bump it up a little bit more, but I started it. I just want to finish it. And that's a note to myself to finish it. So yeah, that is my time blocking of the day. That is how I time block my day. If you guys are curious about that template, it is from my own Etsy shop. I know I've got so many things happening, guys, but that is in my Etsy shop. I will drop it down in the link below if you want to check it out. There's a couple of other ones depending on if you're more of a daily planner, if you're more of like, if you more want to see your week at a glance, there's different options for you in that shop. So check it out if you want to. And yeah, so those are my 2 big tools of productivity, guys. This is constantly changing. December, I had a completely different way I was doing things. I'm still trying to find what jives the best with me, and I don't even know if this is I don't even know if what I've shown you is what I'm going to continue to stick with. And the reason I bring that up is you kind of have to trial and error a lot of things. At least that's how I found what may or may not work for me. I just don't think that you're always going to be the most productive. You're not. It's just not possible. Like, you saw that time block and it's pretty stacked in there, but chances are things are gonna fluctuate, things are gonna move around, and that's okay. I think we live in a time of, not not toxic productivity, but people want you to be productive all the time and you have to spend every waking moment. And I try to pack in my day. Half of the time, it does not go according to plan, but knowing that I have a plan really just helps me, just is really more of a guide. To go inside with my time block, daily time block thing that I showed you guys, I also like to use the flow timer to keep track of my time blocks. I don't do it all the time, but if I know I need to put my phone down and get off TikTok and do all that, I use that timer to really force myself to stay within my time block. So, you know, the Pomodoro method, set it for 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break. So that's another great tool to use, and it's, you know, also really aesthetic. So I love that. I just want to answer a couple of questions that you guys have asked on a couple of different videos related to productivity and managing my time and stuff like that. So let me go over some really quickly here. Okay, on average, what's the duration your company gives you for completed designs, entire process? So there is a set time. We do things by the quarter. There's certain things that we are trying to accomplish by every quarter, and then those are broken down into different tasks. So honestly, I set my own deadlines, but my work needs to get passed to the developers. So we all have to, everything needs to be done by the end of, let's say we're in Q1. Everything needs to be done by Q1. So I can't take all of Q1 and then give development a week to do it. Like, that's insane. Don't do that. So you have to be strategic in knowing how much can I get done and still give the people next to me that I have to pass this on to ability to do their job as well. So that's why there's not like a certain set deadline. There is like an overall deadline, but you have to really self-regulate to make sure you get your work done. And you don't want to be the guy that like leaves everybody in the lurch. So I like to get things done early and have them reviewed, checked early and often, just to make sure that I'm doing what I need to be doing. Another question, is work-life balance a struggle being a UX designer? I can't imagine having like 4 to 5 hours of meetings and only 1 to 2 hours of actual design without having to work after hours. And I responded to this person as well, and pretty much what I've said is like, you have to be strategic about your time. And that's why I time block my day to the best of my ability to make sure that every single day I am getting solid design work done. And that's why I have my overarching goal on my little to-do list here of this is what I'm accomplishing this week and this is what I have to do. So you have to hold, you almost have to hold your own feet to the fire rather than somebody else doing it for you, because then that's not a good situation. And I'm not gonna lie, there are nights where I have to work late, but that's mainly because I did not prioritize in the daytime. And it's so rare, it's rare that it happens. And I'm usually like really jived and I'm enjoying the designs that I'm doing. So I kind of want to just keep going till I get to a good stopping point. So yeah, it's really about being strategic with your time, and you won't really know what's the right way until you've tried it. And right now, this is what's currently working for me. And so far so good. I'm kind of liking this process. So you just really have to be strategic. I'm not gonna say there's never gonna be nights where you have to work late, but you have to get your work done and you have to really prioritize. There's some meetings where I don't really have to say anything and I'm just here to listen and I'm on mute and I'm over here doing Figma. So you have to be strategic and just find, God, how many times can I say strategic in one video? You just have to be mindful of your time and just plan accordingly. Like you guys saw my Wednesday, it looked crazy, but there was breaks in there. There was lunch breaks, my meetings were planned in there. So whenever you're not in a meeting, use that time to get to your objective and get to your goal. You always seem so motivated. How do you keep that motivation going when you just don't feel like it? Okay, the thing is, like, nobody wakes up and is like, yeah, I'm gonna crush it. I'm gonna be motivated. I'm gonna do this. Like, sometimes, guys, but most mornings I'm like, oh my God, my alarm is going off. Crap, I gotta get up, I gotta work out. You know, nobody, especially not me, I'm not gonna say nobody, I am not motivated every single day. Half of the week, maybe I'm motivated to do it. So it's really just about mindset. And that's why I like to actually write my to-do list. I like to time block because it's my mindset trying to shift and like, okay, this is my intention for the day. This is my intention for the week. Let's see what I can get done. It's just really a roadmap. Nobody's going to be 100% motivated. In those cases, it's like you have to give yourself some time and some space, and then just to hang back and read your book and watch a few TikToks. But then on the other side, it's like, it comes down to discipline as well. Like, this is your job. I wanted to be a UX designer for so long. I worked so hard for it. So I also don't want to let myself down in that way too. So like all things, it's about balance. It's about balance and just being honest with yourself and just listening to yourself and trying to do the best that you can with what you have. So balance, that's what I would say. It's all about balance, guys. Okay, guys, I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful, all the fulls. Yeah, whether it was the practical tips or more of the motivation, productivity, mindset tips, I hope you guys can take something away from this. And yeah, just know everybody's out here trying to do their best, trying to stay hired, trying to stay working, trying to stay sane. So it's all about balance, guys. With that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I called you guys out earlier. With love, with love. Yeah, leave me any comments, any questions down below. And with that, guys, I will see you in the next one.